people like me. You need people like me so you can point your f***ing fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
The undisputed super featherweight champion of the world, Alicia, the Baumgardner.
That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. The latest from the WBA's website, their scheduled fights for the near future as it pertains to Alicia Baumgardner's ring return, who is still the undisputed champion at 130 pounds apparently. Her mandated fight with Delphine Persoon is scheduled for all the way out there in August.
San Jose. What's that, Texas?
So if the date sticks, and Alicia returns in August opposite the ring Delphine Persoon, it will have been a little over a year's time since her last fight. It will have been a little over a year's time since the Cristina Linardatu fight that took place in July of last year, if this fight falls in August of this one, back in March.
When they had the purse bid.
An entity known as the Global Combat Collective won the rights to the fight, beating out Matchroom with a bid of approximately $500,000. $500,000, $315,000 of which goes to the champion, goes to Alicia.
Questions that need answers.
Who is the Global Combat Collective? And since they have the rights to the fight, on what platform would the fight air?
I never heard of the Global Combat Collective before. I don't know what, if any, broadcast partner they have. If and when this fight goes down, how are you supposed to watch it?
Questions that need answers. Alicia Baumgardner, to my knowledge, she's still with Matchroom. She hasn't parted ways with the promotional outfit, at least not yet. So why would this Global Combat Collective spend so much money to air one of her fights just for her to end up going back to Matchroom afterwards?
It's counterintuitive, isn't it?
Like when Triller decided to put up something like $6 million for what was the Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos fight, two fighters that neither of them were under contract with Triller and anybody over there, so why would you want to put up that much money for two guys you don't have under contract? It doesn't make sense. You're going to spend all that money to put on that show just for both guys to end up going somewhere else afterwards? It's nonsensical, counterintuitive.
For what wasn't a big fight, for what really wasn't a $6 million fight. In the end, we all know what happened, or what didn't happen.
Fight did happen, but it didn't happen on Triller. And how that relates to this situation is here you have a fighter in Alicia Baumgardner that is contracted to someone else. So why would the Global Combat Collective stake so much of their own money, $500,000, to air one of her fights when they don't have her under contract?
Questions that need answers.
They beat out Matchroom for the rights to the fight. But you wonder that the fight wouldn't have happened in a more timely fashion had it been Matchroom that won the purse bid and not the Global Combat Collective. That granted, the Global Combat Collective might have put up a more generous bid than Matchroom, but it seems to be costing the reigning champion a lot of time to get the fight over the line. You're not going to return to action until 8 months into this year. Matchroom placed a very modest bid of $251,000 for the fight, whereas Global Combat Collective bid 2 times that amount at $500,000.
Clearly, Matchroom wasn't trying to break the bank for this fight.
Where the people at Global Combat Collective were more determined to win the rights to it. Though given when the purse bid took place and when the fight is scheduled to take place, it is taking them a rather long time to get this thing done, get it over the line. And when exactly is the threshold for the fight to see the light of day? Because if it takes too long, the rights to the fight, Global Combat Collective may default those rights to the second highest bidder. And the second highest bidder is Matchroom.
Like what we saw with Triller and Matchroom, that Triller was taking too long to do the Lopez versus Kambosos fight, so eventually they lost the rights to the fight, lost their deposit, and the rights to it went to Matchroom.
Could that happen here? Could that end up happening with this fight, because for a purse bid that was back there in March, for the fight to be scheduled towards the end of the summer, it does seem like it's costing the champion a lot of time, and it does seem like these Global Combat people, it's taking them a while to orchestrate it.
August. That's the same month as Crawford versus Madrimov.
Think about that. The Global Combat Collective won the rights to this fight back in March. And from March till now, we've seen an undisputed champion crowned at heavyweight. We'll see Gervonta Davis return to action in June.
Terence Crawford will have already fought Israel Madrimov, all before this fight takes place.
Because the Madrimov fight, that's August 3rd. This fight is on the 10th. It's a great fight. And we'll see what develops, how long it takes Alicia to return to action, because it's a nuanced situation when an obscure entity acquires the rights to a fight with a known fighter. Men's cruiserweight news, a peculiar story that caught me by surprise as Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez is now a free agent and plans to unify the division, but he's not with Goldenboy anymore. WBO champion Gilberto Ramirez said he has left Goldenboy Promotions to become a free agent. The future holds endless possibilities, Ramirez said. I'm excited to embark on this journey as a free agent. My ultimate goal is to unify the cruiserweight division and become the undisputed champion. It's a challenging path, but I'm fully committed to putting in the hard work and dedication required to achieve that feat. As a champion, I have the flexibility to pursue the opportunities that will bring me closer to my goal and allow me to showcase my skills on the global stage. I'm looking forward to whatever the future holds and am determined to leave my mark on the sport of boxing, but
who's going to negotiate on his behalf? Who pays for the shows? Who pays to get him those opponents, those other champions?
Without a major promoter behind him, that would make him the away fighter in most every single situation, irrespective of which champion he pursues, whether it's the winner of Billum Smith versus Riakpur 2, or Jayo Pataya, or Noel Gavor.
They all have promoters.
Zurdo doesn't. Zurdo Ramirez, who defeated then unbeaten Arsen Goulamarian by way of a unanimous decision to clinch the WBA title in March, to become Mexico's first ever cruiserweight champion. I am truly grateful for this victory, Ramirez explained. I want to express my appreciation to everyone who supported me along the way. It's been a journey of hard work, dedication, and perseverance, and I'm honored to have achieved this milestone. I also want to commend my opponent for their effort and sportsmanship. Victory is not just about individual success, but also about the spirit of competition and camaraderie. I look forward to continuing to strive for excellence and becoming the undisputed champion of the division. In many ways, Zurdo has left his mark. Historically, he was the first Mexican-born super middleweight champion, and now he's the first Mexican-born cruiserweight champion. But without a major promoter behind him, that puts him at a bit of a disadvantage with the other champions at the weight.
If you're waiting on them to pay you, that's going to make you the away fighter in every one of those fights.
I am deeply humbled and honored to be the first champion at cruiserweight for Mexico. This achievement represents not only my personal journey, but also the rich history and tradition of Mexican boxing. I am grateful for the unwavering support of my country, my team, and my fans who have stood by me every step of the way. This victory is a testament to the resilience and determination of the Mexican spirit. I dedicate this win to my fellow Mexicans and promise to continue representing our nation with pride, integrity, and honor in the ring and beyond.
¡Viva México!
Si ya saben cómo me pongo, ¿para qué me invitan?
Zurdo Ramirez really impressed me. The way he's changed his base style and adapted to the cruiserweight division, knowing that you can't just outmuscle guys up there anymore the way you used to at 168 and 175. You're going to have to broaden your horizons and your skill set. And he did that against Arsen Goulamarian, going from a pressure fighter, a mid-range to inside fighter, to a mover, a boxer.
Pressure fighters aren't often able to do that, but he did.
The reception in Mexico, particularly in my hometown of Mazatlan, has been overwhelmingly heartwarming, Ramirez continued. To receive such support and recognition from my fellow countrymen, especially from my beloved community, means the world to me. Mazatlan has always been my source of strength and inspiration, and to know that I've made them proud fills me with immense gratitude. The outpouring of support and celebration in my hometown has been truly unforgettable, and I'm deeply honored to represent Mazatlan and Mexico on the global stage. Zurdo Ramirez is a two-division champion, not often talked about as being a pound-for-pound fighter, a pound-for-pound alum, but he's up for consideration if he can unify titles at cruiserweight. He is. He beat then-champion Arthur Abraham for the WBO title at 168, and he beat Arsen Goulamarian, then WBA champion, at cruiserweight. That's 2 champion scalps in 2 weight classes. Celebrating with my family and keeping things low-key was exactly what I needed after such a monumental win, spending quality time with loved ones, reflecting on our journey together, and simply enjoying each other's company made the victory even more meaningful. If he can beat another champion at this weight, yeah, he's up for consideration. Fair is fair. And it's only right. He beat a champion at 168, he beat another one at cruiserweight. If he can unify a title, I don't see why he shouldn't be ranked amongst the best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport. No, not in the top 5, but perhaps in the bottom tier, where things move around a bit more.
There's a legitimate argument there.
Though it could prove difficult, the cruiserweight division is one of the toughest divisions in boxing right now, Ramirez said. It's packed with formidable opponents and big names to face. It's an exciting time to be part of this weight class, with each bout representing a unique challenge and opportunity to showcase skills and determination. The competition is fierce, but that's what drives me to push myself to new heights and prove myself against the best in the world. I'm committed to facing top-tier opponents and delivering exciting fights. For the fans, exciting is right. You could put Zurdo in there with any one of those other guys at cruiserweight, the 3 champions, and it makes for a great fight, but a difficult one for him.
I didn't figure he would leave Goldenboy Promotions. Why would he do that?
Perhaps he doesn't want another hand in the cookie jar. Zurdo is smarter than he's given credit for. He parlayed his time at Top Rank into a WBO title. Now he's parlayed his time at Goldenboy into a WBA title, and maybe he figures he can make more money if he doesn't have their hand in his pocket, but it does leave him at somewhat of a disadvantage because all the other champions at the weight,
they have promoters. If you're relying on them to pay you top dollar, even if they do,
their fighter will be the house fighter and you'll be the away fighter. You won't get the same consideration you would have got if it were a Goldenboy Promotions show. That is unless Zurdo signs to a Matchroom.
Oscar would be pissed.
Maybe, but Matchroom's doing a lot of business with Turki Al Sheikh, and Turki Al Sheikh's got a lot of money to play, a lot of money to throw around to perhaps make a unification match between, say, Zurdo and Jai Opataya, who they have taken interest in.
Or Noel Gavor, WBC champion, who recently pulled out of the Ryan Rositsky fight. You wonder that he didn't pull out of that fight because he was instructed to do so for something bigger.
Like a unification match? Like a Zurdo Ramirez fight? Behind the scenes, the wheels might already be in motion for that. Who knows? The bottom line is, I'm not going to underestimate Zurdo. The way he's adapted his methodology to cruiserweight as opposed to how he used to fight at super middle and light heavy, it's impressive. And over time, he has proven himself a shrewd businessman, business savvy.
He's smart.
So maybe he knows what he's doing. And maybe to some degree, to some extent, this will work out for him. We'll see what happens next, but like I said, I'm not going to underestimate him.
Free agency isn't all it's cracked up to be, though.
It's not, but maybe there's more going on here than meets the eye. Finally, upstairs at heavyweight, unbeaten up-and-comer Jared Anderson planning a Wilder clash if Deontay Wilder can beat Zhang this weekend. Bob Arum tells Sky Sports Deontay Wilder is being eyed as a potential opponent for rising heavyweight star Jared Anderson.
Wilder has a very tough fight coming up on Saturday with Zhang. And if he wins, sure, we'd love to do that fight because it would put Jared right up there amongst the top 3 or 4 heavyweights. But I really believe that Zang is going to be too much for Wilder. I think Wilder has slipped a little bit. Zang is an awfully good fighter. He's a rough, tough heavyweight, but we'll have to see what happens in that fight on Saturday.
The meeting with Wilder is no given, however, as the Bronze Bomber prepares to encounter the impressive power of Zhang, who recently came up shy against Parker following standout back-to-back wins over Joe Joyce.
If Wilder's not available, then we're gonna look for the biggest possible opponent for Jared to fight. We want to start moving Jared along. I know he's young, but we really believe that he can compete with anybody in the heavyweight division. First, we have to see who's available. Then we'll make a decision. But right now, the plan is truly to fight Wilder. But again, I'm a little pessimistic about Wilder getting through the fight with Zhang.
Most people are. If you ask around, they're picking Zang to beat Wilder. I see a window of opportunity for Wilder to win that fight, and I've discussed that in previous videos, though I can't help but share in Bob's sentiment that Wilder has a very tough assignment in front of him. His heart may not be in it, and he may have lost a step. He is 38 years old.
Yeah, but Zhang's right up there with him.
Yeah, but Deontay Wilder's been a professional a lot longer than Zhang. So that's more fights, more rounds in the bank, more camps, more wear and tear.
Injuries.
It all starts to pile on. I think Zhang is going to win this weekend. I do. I think he's going to win by way of knockout. But for argument's sake, let's say Wilder wins. Let's say Wilder pulls it off. Well, it's actually better for the division and its profile if Wilder wins than if Zhang wins.
Why?
Because Wilder is already more popular than Zhang. He already has more of a profile than that guy. More people know about him in more markets across the world, not just the major ones like the US and the UK. By now, people are familiar with Wilder, and I think it would be a good lesson.
That he finally wised up and he finally decided to expand his horizons, leave the island, leave the PBC.
Branch out, because there are more opportunities out there on the global stage than just the domestic one. If he were able to parlay this move into success, that would serve us as an example for other American fighters.
Get your passport out. Don't be afraid to travel. If you believe in yourself and you believe in your boxing, maybe you can do it.
If he does it at the advanced age of 38, if he services as that example, that would be the silver lining. As it pertains to a Jared Anderson fight, well, I don't think Wilder has Jared Anderson on his radar. Thus, Top Rank would have to entice him, sweeten the deal, because Wilder has other people in mind.
You gotta offer him some money because he's in bed with the Saudis, so he's already making good money. You need to give him a reason to fight your heavyweight.
And you know what Eddie Hearn is saying? He's saying if Wilder wins this weekend, he's thinking about signing him.
Bob's not the only guy who's got his eyes on Wilder.
I think a Jared Anderson fight would be a good fight because it's a passing of the torch fight. The American market needs a face at heavyweight, and it's not yet Jared Anderson. Not yet. He hasn't made a splash. He's a guy who periodically comes up in conversations.
But he's not the face.
The face of American boxing at heavyweight has been Deontay Wilder the last couple of years. If he can win this weekend and then Jared Anderson, hypothetically, were to beat him, that's a passing of the torch fight.
You think Jared would beat him?
That's another conversation for another day. How that fight would break down given the fighter's characteristics and their physical dimensions and their deficiencies.
I'm not gonna get into that just yet because we don't even know that Wilder's gonna win this weekend.
Before we have a long-winded conversation about how Wilder versus Anderson would break down as a fight, Wilder's got to get through this weekend's fight. Being honest with you, I don't think he's going to.
I think he's gonna get knocked out.
I'm just entertaining the possibility that if Wilder were to win, he has a lot of opportunities. There's a lot out there for him. Not exclusive to the same old fights we always talk about. There's a fight with Jared Anderson.
Something to think about.